Sambo,
Yes.
welcome back.
Thank you. I spilt my water.
Yeah, you're a bit bemoistened over there, but that's okay.
Bemoistened?
Bemoistened, Sam.
Was that your word of the day, was it?
Nah, sometimes you just got to riff, you just got to...
Riff-raff.
Yeah, exactly. Just got to see how the room feels at the time.
And how does the room feel?
Wet. Sam, we sat down with Dominic to chat about their latest album, Protomensch.
Yep.
And I think the easiest way to sum up this album is like cinematic, like big cinematic electronic sounds. And listening through, I was very excited to sort of get into like what, like this is a band that built a whole narrative around the album kind of before they put a single note, well, I was going to say pen to paper, but that doesn't really work, does it? Before they recorded a single note.
Note to Pro Tool.
Exactly. And so I wanted to get in and chat to Dominic about like what that process was like. And I think we uncovered a fair bit in the chat. So
I'm keen. I was also there.
He's spilled so much water. He's also spilled a bit of brain. But Sam,
You're talking about it like it was just you two. I was there. I was behind the camera.
No, I think you're in front of the camera.
I don't know. TBC.
But I think let's throw it over to us having a chat with Dominic, eh?
Thrust over.
We are here in the 4000 studio with Dom from Felsmann Tiley. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Very good. Very happy to be here with you guys. Is it guys or guy?
Well, I mean, Sam's here. Sam, for the listeners
here.
at home, Sam's just sitting off camera cucking.
I'm cucking, guys.
It's beautiful.
Hey,
Happy to be here.
he is wearing pants.
Yeah, which I think that will change over the course of the interview.
Yeah, slowly.
Yeah. And I think if you could just kind of maybe give us some instruction of what you want to see, from us, that'd be great. Interactive.
Yeah.
I've been told to moan. Sporadically.
Oh, the Mona Lisa over there. It's going to be beautiful.
Let's go.
We'd like to start the show pretty much the same way every week, which is to find out what you're listening to. So what's been spinning in your playlists, or if you've had some vinyl on recently, what have you been listening to?
It's really tough for me because I don't really listen to music. Like I work on music all day long, so when I leave the studio, I'm really happy to just raw dog the noise cancelling headphones and hear nothing. But I'm sort of like I've been listening to a lot of neoclassic stuff lately for some reason, mainly because we're sort of remixing the whole album with some really interesting like up and coming neoclassic people, and it's pretty like melancholic piano music. Shout out to Meredy, shout out to Sophie, who are going to be remixing a few songs. That's sort of the only thing that I've actually been listening to lately. Other than that, it's quiet. My wife hates it when we drive because she wants to listen to music. I'm like, can we just
enjoy the road?
Just
Oftentimes when we chat to producers, sometimes I'll say like that same answer, I have too much music in my life and I don't necessarily want to listen to it in my spare time. But then you'll get other producers who'll say, I'm sort of doing like out there doing research on what's happening in the scene. And I need to be across it. So when do you get your research in from what's happening in the scene, or do you try to not be influenced? I suppose.
Every day. Like every day, I work on something and I listen to something, and it's more, you don't listen to it like a listener. You listen to it like someone that tries to analyze it, and your brain does it differently than just like enjoying music. So sometimes it's just like, okay, you've had a beer, and then your brain turns off for a second. You can actually love that bit. But yeah, I probably listen to 50, 100 songs a day. That educates me.
I was going to say, that's a good number. What does that mean when you go to a live show? Like, are you pounding the beers before you go, so you're in that switched off state, or?
I am the biggest introvert you can think of, so I rarely go to live shows. The last live show I've gone to was, I saw Bunt in LA.
Nice.
That was wild. That was really cool, because it's like, his music's so chill. It's like this sort of like, I don't know, do you know him?
I mean, I wouldn't say no. If you asked me to name a song, I could not. But
I'll play you some later. He's like sort of like the sort of like chilled out dance music, but like it goes off live. It was insane. It's really cool.
Okay. To be fair, like I do love when we were talking about this the other day on the show. Lupo the boy out of Brisbane, we saw him at Big Sound, and we were expecting like dance music, upbeat energy, and we just got this very chilled vibe. We're like, sick. Fucking rules.
And I saw Odd Mob. He's from Brisbane. So
yeah,
that's good.
He's killing it as well. He's been dropping some huge collabs and stuff recently. So
and there's more big collabs coming. And
Well, let's talk Felsmann Tiley. So the new album is it's Protomensch,
Yep.
and it's got quite a narrative behind it. You know, like you guys have built this manifesto that talks about the album and the narrative behind the album, and you kind of it sounds like you did that before you even put pen to paper to kind of start mapping out the songs. What is that process like when you're sitting down with each other to go, all right, we're going to make this album about utopia and dystopia, and where do we start?
It's a little bit like watching an old couple that sort of hates and loves each other at the same time. But for us, it's more the music we make is kind of it's very. You have to sit down and listen to it, otherwise it's going to be pretty. It's just going to be nothing. So what we try to do is to add a few additional layers to the music, the visual part, the music videos, and then also the sort of story of it. And the whole story is a little bit just. I mean, we chat quite a lot online. We probably call each other every day for an hour or so and just talk about stuff. And a lot of it was just about how crazy and fucked up the world is. And sort of that idea was always going to be in some shape or form a topic for an album. But then when we sort of like came up with that manifesto thing, it was pretty clear that like that sort of like the contradiction between us being really smart but at the same time really dumb monkeys, that sort of thing. When we sort of got to that part, we knew, okay, that's a great bit of like story that we can explore, and we can just like you'd score a movie, we're just scoring that manifesto.
Yeah. Was there ever I mean, obviously you have the music videos and the imagery that goes with it, but was there ever a point when you thought this could be like, you know, a short film or something that brings it to life in a fully visual medium?
We wanted it to be that.
Yeah.
And luckily we were contacted, or we do get contacted by a lot of directors and creative people, because it's a lot of directors, when they shoot their movies, they have our music in the background, or visual people, artists that draw or do graphic design. They're sort of in our circle. So we always knew that we sort of wanted something visual with it. But most of it ended up when we met this guy, Philip from Düsseldorf, who just emailed us and was like, hey, can we get creative here? And we sort of, with him, we just worked with probably over 100 people on creating videos, music videos.
Wow.
And the whole story around it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Wow. I suppose, so across the record, you know, as I mentioned before, there's this utopia, dystopia, and the kind of the tension and pull between things being often at times both of those things. To my ear, it sounds like, you know, a song like Kind sits on the utopia side of that, and Warnung sits on the dystopian side of that, and then Warum's kind of in the middle where it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Were you designing it in a way to be like each song is meant to be, represent part of that? Like, I know it's obviously very, you know, subjective, but like for you as the creatives.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, great job for getting it right. Honestly, it's like sometimes really weird what people will come up with, and then listen to the song, and then it's like not at all what we had in mind, but that's great. But we started writing songs and collecting ideas for like probably like 5 years ago, and then it's just constantly been building that folder of like 15-second snippets. And then when the manifesto was there, we sort of just made sure that every part of that has been scored by the album. And then also to sort of find a balance. Obviously, it's more on the dystopian side, but putting those like more happy, hopeful parts in there, that was very sort of thought through.
Thematically, obviously, you're talking kind of future state, paradise lost even. But musically and sonically, it feels very sort of 80s, 90s throwback. It feels like some of this music could live in like a John Carpenter soundtrack or a Doom video game. What are kind of those sonic cues that you were looking for when you were kind of building out the palette that you wanted this record to sit with?
None, actually.
Right.
So this project's really just us not trying to not listen to other music and just building sounds from scratch and working on synths and just coming up with melodies that feel good. Simply because it's meant to not be influenced by anything. I feel like as a producer for my other stuff where I work with other people, a lot of it is sort of making something that sounds like dun dun dun. And with this stuff, the only reason why we make it is to just make it because we like what we hear, and probably just because we're drawn to that sort of sound and those synths and those melodies. That's why it sounds that way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
More of a subconscious thing than an active choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And obviously, like, people that know the project know that you guys work usually and almost exclusively without any kind of drums throughout your music. Do you kind of see that as a I suppose, do you see having to work with drums as something that would limit your creativity? Do you see it more as like you just want to paint with this palette and create? There's obviously a lot of rhythm within the songs, but you want to paint and use different instrumentation to kind of create that rhythm?
It's a concept. So the whole project is a concept. Like we literally sat down when we started this and went like, hey, how about we fuse dance music breakdowns with film scores and sort of neoclassic piano compositions, and what if those three would meet? And then we make it even harder by saying, okay, we're not going to use drums because we're coming from a club background and we were DJing for quite a long time, and then only use maybe 2 or 3 synths. Sort of like limiting ourselves was the whole concept of it, and seeing if we can make just a melody work by itself or make just one cool sound work by itself.
Yeah.
So that is on purpose, and it makes you look at music differently, and that brings us creativity in a way.
Do you I suppose as a producer, whether with Felsmann Tiley or like other work, do you find having those creative limitations pushes you to think more creatively about what you're producing overall?
Yeah. 100. I mean nowadays, like, I have a laptop, and back in the days you'd probably have to have $1 million to buy a studio to make the same sort of music, and there's millions of presets out there, millions of synths, it feels, and everything's possible, and you can go to Splice and download any sound or sample that you've ever thought of. So limiting yourself just goes like, okay, focus, look at just one thing and see what you can do with it.
It brings it back to the musicality, I suppose. It brings back to the core elements of melody, rhythm.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's the equivalent of just sitting in your garage and playing guitar, right?
Yeah.
There's only your guitar, and that's fun, and then you explore it, but in a very conscious way.
Well, we can't wait for the reel-to-reel recorder to be in here next, and doing some tape delays and stuff like that.
Do love a good tape delay.
Well, speaking about like creative limitations, you and Patrick are on opposite sides of the world, and often you're producing on opposite sides of the world. You mentioned before that you're having hour-long phone calls to kind of talk through the vision, but what is that like having a long-distance musical relationship?
It's funnily enough, it's always been that way. Like we're from the same town, but 40 minutes away. So I live on one side and he lived on the other side. So we've always worked over the internet and on the phone. And, like back in the days, we were like 16 and like we put our synths in sports bags and got on the train and hoped that we wouldn't get mugged. So it's been like that. And then, so for us, the process hasn't changed. It's just the time zone and the location. And we still do see each other 3 or 4 times a year in person. And when sort of the album or productions get closer to getting finished, then we meet up and sit together and do it in the same room. But it's good to do it separately because I listen to music differently than he does. I like very different things than he does.
Yeah, right.
So starting the creative process separately and then swapping over is kind of a cool thing because he hears things that I don't hear. And then usually you get like, you struck gold. I don't even know what the
Gold has been struck for sure.
Gold.
Does you find you're waking up to emails where someone's had a late night thought and it's like, quick, I just need to jot this down and send this over to you in a session, and you're waking up blurry-eyed in the morning and hearing just something crazy that the other ones sort of built out?
Yeah.
It's a good way to start your day.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is sort of like, we don't really have that much of a structured, okay, today is Felsmann Tiley Day sort of thing, but like every night we just collect whatever comes our way. And that's why it takes so long to make that sort of music, because I guess if we made this music every day, it'd be really hard to even finish something because there's nothing would grab us anymore.
Speaking of other collaborations, I suppose you had Woods, you had Pet Deaths, Kite String Tangle, amongst a few of the names that are feature vocaling on the record. I suppose, what did you think when you were putting together that lineup of feature vocalists to bring in? How did you kind of see that their contributions sort of contributing to the vision, I suppose, for the record, for that manifesto?
I think most of it is, I mean, we did a few sessions internationally and we tried it with a few people around the world, and what we ended up realizing is that even though some of the songs are quite big, a lot of what we do is quite fringe. So you need to be in the room with people that are on the same wavelength, that can bring something to the song that you can't, but that still understand what you have to do. So you don't have to sit there and re-explain everything for half of the session.
Yeah.
And then, with all the people on the record, they all sort of have interesting voices, interesting ways of delivering their songs. So, for example, Danny, his voice is crazy. It's just, you can say one word and you're like, oh, okay, I'll listen to the song until the very end.
Yeah.
So same with Al, and he and Al were working in the studio next door, and I was like, oh, okay, one day I want to work with these guys, and sort of that's how it happened. And even with Evan Layers, who did God Is Lonelier, we sort of do these show and tell sessions here in the studio, and everyone shows their songs, and he's this super shy guy, and he's like in the corner all cramped up because he's so scared. He plays his songs and they're insanely good. Like, he's got an insane voice and super cool songwriting and delivery, and you're like, oh, okay, this could work.
Yeah.
So it's when you feel it, that it works, and you can steer them a little bit better if you're sort of close emotionally and as friends.
Yeah, I mean, that helps. Better than getting them in here and them being like, not for me.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.
You brought the record and the project to life at a live show in Germany last year. It was a full immersive experience. We were talking about it just before the mics came on. I suppose, what was it like bringing the themes, the narrative, and the music to life all together in one sort of cohesive show?
It was pretty fucking sick. The funny thing is, like, I played a few of the album songs at BrizFest. I don't know what the venue's called, the something theatre near Wollongabba.
The Princess?
Princess, yeah. And I was just playing, like, we just had a bit of light show, and like I was playing some songs with some of the singers, and it just didn't really connect with the people. It was obviously a different crowd and the whole thing, but like, sort of like knowing that the visual component in that show is so important, and the whole setting of the show is so important, and so being able to bring all those things together, that was insanely cool, because the whole thing was, first of all, there was some lady that did meditation and breathing exercises before. So people came, they were sitting on like bean bags, they were completely relaxed after a long week on a Friday night, and you bring them down for like half an hour, and like everyone's just chilled out, and you bring the show, and it starts really slow, and we're in this infinity cove, like where they shoot movies or ads usually, and a lot of the lighting was indirect, so you just like light up the whole walls, and all of a sudden the room goes yellow.
Wow.
Stuff like that you can't do on any other stage. So the whole thing was just an amazing sort of immersive thing for us to be part of, but also for people to experience. And then having the videos tell a story is kind of a cool thing, because every now and then sort of our music's more in the background and the story's in the front. And then sometimes you turn the screen off and then the focus is back on you. So all in all, it was just what we always wanted it to be. And that was the first time we actually were able to do it.
Right.
And it was, it was a crazy story, but like I don't really tell my parents what I do. I never show my parents what I do. And I've been making music professionally for over 20 years. And like, when we sort of rehearsed that show in Düsseldorf, that was like the first time I called my parents. I was like, you got to see this. I think this is good. So, that's kind of a big thing. And, and so I think for us, a lot of this is like finally getting to do the things we love, independently of whether it'll sell a lot of tickets, if it'll connect to anyone else, but like we get to do what we like. And that's a crazy privilege.
What was the feedback from Mum and Dad?
The trains didn't run.
Sehr Deutsch.
Deutsche Bahn. Yeah. So like they actually booked a ticket, and then they got about 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers, and then the train broke down, and then there's no chance to see it.
Thanks, Deutsche Bahn.
Hey, that's what it is.
Delivering that high quality service.
So they turned around.
I mean, it sounds like there's not that many venues that can bring that show to life. Maybe the Immersive Cove, maybe the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Are there plans to bring more Felsmann Tiley live shows to, other parts of the world?
Yes. We've just signed with a booking agency, and they do specialize in immersive shows and sort of like that sort of not fringe. They do cool people. They do very cool people. and we're sort of working with them to like bring it to the right venues. And I think the whole we'll probably have to flesh out the whole concept a little bit more, but like doing it at like a planetarium would be cool.
Oh, sick.
Right, stuff like that,
That'd be
or interesting venues where where you just that feel differently, and it's more of an event rather than a show. That's the sort of concept that we're going for, and hopefully start playing it in October.
Yeah, wow.
Which is good. Yeah,
We'll see you at the Sir Thomas Brisbane Planetarium for sure. Like, ready to
I
roll.
want to be at the planetarium playing my musics.
Mount Cootha won't know what hit it.
I do go there every now and then. So
Yeah, it's sick. I love that place.
I actually do like it.
That is very cool. Before we wrap, it would be pretty remiss of us to not talk about some of the remix work that you guys have done. Obviously, you've worked with Moby. You had the massive success with Solitude by M83 remix as well. I suppose you've probably, like, the unique take that you guys have on remixing and how you kind of pick out those moments in the songs probably means that you've had producers and artists hitting up left, right, and center to do some work. Is there anyone that you're kind of like, I would love to work with that particular artist or producer to you think that mesh well with your sound?
Usually it's very, we're not artist driven people. Like we don't go, this artist is great. We pick songs. So if there's a song that we hear and we're like, oh, this is cool, but we would have done it completely differently, then that's how we pick the remixes.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of people email us and send us their albums, and then we need to sort of pick the ones where we can add something to the story.
Yeah.
But I think the plan, or it would be cool to maybe work on some rap stuff, someone with a cool voice, and see how it sounds like if you got crazy music in the background rather than a beat.
Yeah.
So I think that's on the lineup for this year, hopefully.
I mean, that kind of experimental, almost trip-hoppy vibe is starting to make its way back in at the moment.
It's coming back.
Even like ASAP's new record, almost none of it was like felt like classically hip-hop produced.
Yeah.
So.
And he's still got tone and melody and rhythm to his voice, so technically you don't need a beat for it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Call me ASAP.
We can hook it up. We'll make it happen. Protomensch is the latest album from Felsmann Tiley. Sounds like live shows are coming to a planetarium near you. So stay tuned and keep an eye on the socials. Dom, thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat to us today.
Thanks for coming over.